Okay. Let's check it out. Hey everyone. Hope you are well. Let me just check if all of that is okay. Yep. And power chat. And here we are. Hello everybody. Here's Mr. Cat. Why don't you go look outside? Happy Halloween, even though we are 24 hours before Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. Welcome aboard. This is the Shortwave show. And let's start. So I've got a selection of beer that actually goes with Halloween. So this Maudit is a beer of the damned. And you can see here, pretty looks hellish. And of course, I gotta have the Blonde from Hell. So beer of the damned and the Blonde from Hell are what I will be having today as beer. Sorry for the lateness of my start. I had a few things to do and I was really compressed with my schedule. So I'm going to start by opening the beer of the damned. And hey everyone, welcome aboard. This is the special Halloween show, a show for a Tuesday. That's pretty special. Tuesday Shortwave ship. We don't have that very often. We got some interesting news about Spain. Back in English and then French. That's pretty cool. And here's the beer of the damned. Look at that. Nice, beautiful beer. Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's going to be happy. Mr. Paul the Cat joining in. Saying hi to everyone. Hey, Mr. Paul. All you would need is some kind of a costume for Paul. So what am I disguised as? Well, pretty much the prisoner of China Radio International from hell. So let's resume it like that. Prisoner of China Radio International from hell. Nice to have you here, everybody. So, my name is Gilles. I'm located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Hope that you are going to have a lot of fun. I was listening to Spain on 9690 kilohertz right now. Come on, come here, Mr. Paul. He's wondering probably what the hell am I doing. So, anyways, it's kind of nice to have all of you here. Let's put this down a little bit. Show Mr. Paul to everybody, because you're the one that everybody loves. So I'll have my beer. That's beer. Yep, I don't think you want that, eh? So Mr. Paul is here. Hey everybody. So okay. There's a nice chat room for those that want to join in, and of course today we're gonna chase some pirates. See if there's some activity. There was some yesterday. I had a few pirates yesterday. We'll see if there's some tonight. And of course tomorrow is Halloween night. Tomorrow will be the big pirate night. Why am I doing it today? Because tomorrow I will be at the Roger Hodgson Super Champ concert. So I won't be available. So Bobby Burgess, nice to have you here. WA5107SWL. Pretty cool. Matt Ambali, nice to have you on board from Colorado. Dan Walsh, nice to have you on board. Hopes that everybody's enjoying that candy corn. Ray Lyle, nice to have you here from Southern Illinois. Tuning 31 meter bands, lit up, lots of signals, pretty much. Lots of stuff, absolutely. A nice propagation actually right now. Pretty cool. Nick Amendelt from Romania. Hey, nice to have you on board. Ray Lyle says, going to send my letter for Radio Romania. Woohoo, on Listener's Day in November. Pretty cool. What else do we have? The Bullfrog 89, KD2CXU. Nice to have you here from Albany, New York. Jack in 9IIF nice to have you here. M84 Baxter, nice to have you on board. From Niagara Falls, New York. Pretty cool. Thanks for the great comments of loving my videos. Calvin, nice to have you here. Radioactive, hello there. Mark Cope, happy Halloween. Let's go down, let's go down. So Calvin, nice to have you here. Mark Cope, Jerry DX, hey, nice to have you here. Whoa, the hat. Yeah, whoa. There was some kind of electric problem. I hope it didn't affect any of the connectivity or anything. The lamp, all the lights just like dimmed very, very briefly. So if everything goes away, maybe you are having a power outage. I hope not during the show. Simon Templar, nice to have you here. And happy Halloween Eve. Yeah, absolutely. Devil's Night. Frédéric, F4 ECA, F4 ECA. Nice to have you here. Bienvenue. Enrico Baravoglia, nice to have you on board, Mr. Weird Hat. Tuto Channel, nice to have you here. Paul Drake, hello there. Gordon Treadwell, VE6 GPT, nice to have you here. What else do we have? It does look like a Slash, something Slash would wear. Absolutely, Bullfrog. I would actually see Slash doing a guitar solo wearing this thing. You are totally right on that. Actually, the first time I saw the hat, I was, for a long time, a really big fan of Guns N' Roses. And first time I saw the hat, I actually thought about Slash. Angus Mac Frankenstein. Nice to have you here, Mac Frankenstein. Hello there. Don Stefano. Nice to have you on board from Frankfurt, Germany. What else do we have? It is some nice damn beer. Absolutely. Jeff Chansey. Nice to have you here. KA0EGE. Pretty cool. Andrew Ross. Good evening. Welcome aboard. Vancouver Island DXer, nice to have you here. VE7AUL, Brian Chappell, nice to have you on board. Jason Pongrads, nice to have you here from Rockwood, Ontario. Pretty cool. Yep, Bobby Burgess captured some of the International Space Station SSTV, Slow Scan TV yesterday. Let me just check it out. So here we have two pictures. Let's try to have it in this direction. Here we go. So the first one, which is a little washed out here. So that was one with the ID of the International Space Station, RS0 ISS. And this one, much nicer, with a nice picture of Mars rover, RS0 ISS call sign. Very nice one here. Very nice the code on this one. So thanks for sharing that with us, our friend Bobby Burgess. And what else? Let's go down. I haven't had any chance in listening to the Slow Scan TV images because Saturday, when I wanted to do the International Space Station, I did not notice that the International Space Station two-line elements weren't updated right. So I actually tuned in 10 minutes too late for the ISS. So Saturday morning, forget it. I had only 2 passes. The last one being at like 12 noon, around noon. Sunday morning, well, I wasn't home. I was at the International Radar Report, so I was out of home, and basically yesterday morning, it didn't come to mind. I've been dabbling some very personal stuff, and just yesterday morning was like, Yesterday morning was like all hell broke loose totally. So everything that had to crumble crumbled finally. It's maybe better like that because I'll be able to move on to other things and it's okay. So Vancouver Island DXer says my SDR has been on pirate patrol from 6,800 to 7,000 for the past few evenings, but I have not heard any yet. I had a few here, but were not very strong. Yesterday there was a couple that I heard. Sunday evening I was in home, so really, let's hope that we're going to have a few today. Don't forget to look also, Vancouver, Brian, don't forget to look for the bottom part of 4 megahertz and the bottom part of 5 megahertz. 4,000, 4,300, 5,000, 5,300. In there, you will have possible pirates with the lowest solar activity. They might be there. Where's Paul Cat's friend? Any more attempts to move in? Absolutely. He was last night. Paul went outside around 10 p.m. I went to bed at 1 a.m. and of course opened the door to see if Paul was there. Paul was there and his friend was there, looking at me and saying, meow. It's like, no. Paul, go in. You stay outside. He actually meows so loud that the other day there was nothing. There was no sounds. I was actually in the kitchen doing something, and I was hearing the meow through the door in the back. Rock the Tech Guy, nice to have you here. Radio Telescope, nice to have you on board. Neil Toombs, nice to have you on board. M0CJM. Kimberly, K6YYL, nice to have you here. Raymond Challoner, nice to have you on board from the UK. And I will enjoy my one night out. Got a few things tomorrow. I need to change my mind, so tomorrow is... I'm going for... So me and my friends, we're going to go to eat a nice restaurant. We're going to go to Supertramp. And after that, well, they work in the morning. I have the possibility of getting home a little later. So I will probably go out to a bar and have a few beers. And I don't know yet if I'll be at a karaoke bar and sing or just have a standard bar and just have a fun little evening. Farney Jr., nice to have you here. W5KJL, nice to have you on board. So it's nice to have you on board, Mr. Gordon, the E6GPT. Enjoyed working DX last weekend. It was very busy. Talked all over the world. The SSB contest, the CQ Worldwide SSB contest, is a lot of fun. I like listening a lot on that. Manny CV, nice to have you on board. Happy Halloween Eve. I like that. Halloween Eve. I thought I will do a live show today. And after the live show, I will be enjoying a couple of my favorite horror movies tonight. I think that's going to be a nice little evening. And it will take my mind off of what's happening. Radioactive says we'll be transmitting National Weather Service Special Halloween SSTV during the show on 14231. Huh. Okay. We'll have to tune that. 14231 during the show for some slow scan TV stuff. So, kind of nice. That's kind of nice. Anybody tune 14231 upper sideband for some slow scan TV? Scary things. Unpopcom, nice to have you here from Central Pennsylvania. My SDR, my software-defined receiver, is a AFEDRI, A-F-E-D-R-I, Simon. Joshua, nice to have you on board from Salem, South Carolina. Oops, sorry, I just burped without wanting to burp. W4GOG, nice to have you here. And, I wasn't very creative in my outfit because I didn't have the time to go and get an outfit. I woke up this morning and the first thing I said is, God, I have a show today. Halloween show. I have to wear something. What am I going to wear? So while getting dressed up, putting on my clothes this morning, I opened the drawer and noticed my old prisoner suit. And I thought, yeah, I haven't used this one in a couple of years. Why not wear my prisoner suit, but with a twist? Instead of the prisoner cap, I'll wear the hat from hell that I've had for a couple of years now. So it's actually not mine. I just never gave it back to my friend. You guys are gonna go nuts, but my friend paid like $50 for this hat. But when you look at it real close, it's actually very well made. You understand why this hat costs $50 once you start looking at it. And I put just a couple of skeletons here. One, enjoying old 5-tube American radios. So, you know, kind of cool. Hope everybody's going to have fun. Michael Lindbergh, nice to have you on board. SA3RIT, Lexpower 74, nice to have you on board. Happy Halloween. And Mad Boy, nice to have you here. It's Halloween's Eve. We can celebrate Halloween's Eve. It is a very nice hat, I gotta say. Yeah, there were a lot of good countries, Joshua, on the CQ Worldwide SSB. And made me hear a few countries we don't hear very often, including St. Helena Islands. Simon says, like, you can use the term Eve. I don't charge royalties. So I won't have a copyright claim or some kind of royalty claim on my YouTube channel because I've used the Halloween Eve all night. Brian Penny, nice to have you on board. And well, you know, I would enjoy more. I would enjoy more of doing it tomorrow on Halloween night because it's the night. I mean, you know, there's a move here because in the suburbs, a lot of kids actually will go on trick-or-treating the Saturday night before Halloween. So a lot of small towns in the suburbs have decided that they will do that instead of having Halloween in the middle of the week like it is tomorrow. They've decided, a lot of them decided it's time to move on to you know, let's put Halloween's trick-or-treater the Saturday before Halloween. And you know what? I find that kind of a bummer. I understand that, you know, for parents that work and that need to actually help their kids for Halloween. Yeah, I understand it's, you know, it's a chore. You gotta do that after work and so on. But at the same time, I have a hard time with trick-or-treating on any other night than Halloween night. So I find that weird. And there was even talk that here in Montreal, there would be some thing like that they might want to have Halloween trick-or-treating on the Saturday before, which I find, yeah, I'm sorry. I want to, you know, if I wasn't for my concert tomorrow, we will have it tomorrow. Halloween's Halloween. It's not 3 days before or 4 days. It's like saying, well, let's celebrate Christmas on the previous Sunday. What? Why? You know, it's just I don't like that. It's fun to Halloween and trick or treat on Halloween. William Helms, nice to have you on board from Florida. Always nice to see you here, my friend. M84 Baxter votes karaoke bar needs more Floyd videos, karaoke videos. If I go to a karaoke bar, unfortunately, there will not be any videos unless somebody takes my phone and films me. I mean, I will be downtown, so I'll go. There's a big karaoke downtown that I've been to once only about, I don't know, I think last time I was there 10 years ago. And I know it's still going on. And since it's not very far from the concert, that's probably where I might be tomorrow. I'll be checking that out. Being Halloween night, there might be something special tomorrow, actually. I don't know. We'll have to check that out. Maybe I should wear my hat. I won't get past the security of the concert. Ray Lyle says tonight at midnight is going to watch the original Exorcist from 1972, also Rocky Horror Picture Show. Yeah, that is an interesting movie, The Exorcist. I will watch. You know, my classics are Fright Night with the kid that lives next door to a vampire. I like Fright Night. I like the mix of humor and of horror. One of my good movies also is The Fog, the original Fog by John Carpenter. That little village in California that celebrates 100 years. And at 100 years, there's this fog that goes through the city. And within the fog, some pirates that come and kill people. There's a spookiness in that movie that is I find that one of the best movies ever made that has a constant fear all the time. Even when nothing's happening, there's this eerie, weird thing in that movie that just, I don't know, it gets me. So these are a couple of, my favorites that I'll probably watch tonight. I don't know, I'll see. But there's a lot of good horror movies that if I've had time, I'd watch tons of them. Maybe do a horror movie kind of week, I don't know. Dan Walsh says agree for the karaoke bar. Manboy says actually here Halloween's Eve is set to be 31st and Halloween's Day is on 1st of November. Because here we call it Halloween, All Hallows Eve, which is on the 31st. And on the 1st of November, we have this, I don't know what, it's, what's the name in English, but it's that day to celebrate, like, I don't know, All Saints or something. I don't know what it's called. Joshua loves to pull pranks on kids when I was a teenager. It was a blast. We dressed up a zombie. Let's go on 14230 here. And upper sideband. We'll see if anything pops up here. I'll leave the volume low at 14230 upper sideband. So, Joshua says, here at Walmart, Christmas stuff in stores now. Yeah, here, Canadian Tires. They were, I think it's last week. I went there and they had Christmas stuff all over. Jerry says people keep changing the rules. Yeah, all the time. Joshua says, it got decided what radio I want for Christmas. Don't know if I want an other AM radio or a new shortwave. And here we have a skeleton that just fell down. So, skeleton just had enough and just committed suicide. Japanese horror comedy. I've never watched that. Relial says, I have all those horror movies on DVD. Young Frankenstein. Yeah, that's not a bad movie. Absolutely, you're right there. Matambali and Bobby Burgess getting 14230 very weak. Yeah, Amityville horror is also not bad at all. Don Stefano. All Saints Day, yeah. I've got got several horror movies that I truly like. It's a bummer because a friend of mine, one of my best friends, we used to have a, things change over life. We had this pact that, for years, I don't know how many years we did that, at least 20 years in a row. We promised each other that on Halloween we would go out, because one of the things that I always enjoyed on Halloween was to go out and walk around, see all the kids dressed up and the decorations. So we would go out and take, go out and go around here and see all the things happening with Halloween. And then what we would do, in the day, we would have bought like a box of, candy or chocolates, Halloween chocolates, and we would actually come home. You would come over here, and we would put on horror movies that we would never have seen before. So we would have to agree on what are the horror movies that we can watch that you've never seen and I've never seen. So basically, we would do that and watch 3 movies in a row, like starting from 11 p.m. and going through the 3, 4 a.m. before you would go back home. And we did that at least 20 years, I'd say. And then life goes on, and then you got a girlfriend, so it changes things. Oh, okay, well I got someone in my life too. So, and all that's happening. And then in the last few years, a couple of years, I think it was 2 years ago, he had proposed to me. He said, "Oh, what are you doing on Halloween night? We could do our, And I said, "Man, I have a Halloween show on YouTube and all of that, so I'm not really sure I have the time for it." But those were pretty good times, actually. Shortwave Frequency Channel, nice to have you on board from Sweden. And just came back from his local radio club. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. William Helm says, Student Bodies is really fun. Cool. Ray Lyle says, another good one is The Legend of Hell House from '73. I saw it at the local drive-in back in the '70s, mid-'70s. Oh, man. I like... what's the movie? I'm trying to remember what's the movie. If anybody remembers, the guy sells sausages and he kidnaps people and he actually buries them up to their neck in the ground, and he has this pickup truck and he kind of puts a rope on the neck of the people that are buried, and he just he just goes with his pickup truck and the heads just get off. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember the name of that movie. Could it be Motel Hell? Is it possible? Farney Jr., you mean Christine with the car? Farney? That is a good one. I actually like Christine. The guy with his old car. The guy with his old car and that's possessed. That is a good one too. I like that. Christine with the old car. That's a good movie. Honestly, that is a good movie. It's interesting to see how you can actually make it look spooky in it just looks spooky. Just the car, it's just crazy. What else? Another one, The Thing. John Carpenter's The Thing with the gang that's in Antarctica. Pretty good one too. That's one I like. And I was, that one I actually, for the first time ever in my life, saw it full without anything taken out, which is kind of interesting. I had never seen the full movie without the portions they took out. So that's one that's pretty cool. I like Silver Bullet, little handicapped kid, and they have a werewolf, and the werewolf turns out that the werewolf is the priest. That's a pretty good one too. That scene where his sister goes at the collect and puts the bottles, and she turns around and notices that the priest has a knife poking at, and that she just understands that, man, the priest is actually the werewolf. That's pretty good too. I like that one. I like that one. Bullfrog says Christine is one of the few horror movies he likes. You know, it's interesting because there's a lot of people that actually don't like horror movies at all, at all. And there are people that just never watch them at all. Firefly, hey there, nice to have you here. G8SBS just finished putting up a new pump-up tower. Cool. Matambali says The Thing, yes, both the original and first remake. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of Dracula movies are good. There's these 70s Dracula movies, not bad at all, pretty scary too, yeah. One of the best for what is a vampire movie is Nosferatu. That original one from like 1929 or something. I don't remember what time it was made, but it's very old. Nosferatu. Oh man, that's my idea of what a vampire needs to look like. Ray Lyle says, my father had a car just like Christine. It's a 1957 Plymouth Fury, I believe. Only it was black. I hope it wasn't possessed. It is true, Nick Hammond, though. I totally agree with you. Today's horror movies are a joke. Absolutely. I have very, very little horror movies today that I really find that it's cool. Hey, Tennis is from Athens, Greece. Nice to have you on board, my friend. Don Stefano, The Blob, very slimy. Yeah, The Blob, kind of interesting. The Blob over Simpson. Alien and Predator are good. Nick Hammond, yeah. The first and the second Alien are pretty good. Predator is an amazing movie also, and I also like a lot. Pretty good. Mad Boy, tempted to maybe also go for some silent horror. Yeah. Hey, Randy in California, nice to have you on board. Nice to see you here too. 1922. Yeah. I mean, that vampire look from Nosferatu is amazing. Favorite Simpsons Halloween movie, The Shining. Mummy. Yeah, 1930s. The Mummy. Yeah, these are pretty amazing. Jerry DX says, YT Bulgar, ex-mobster, died in West Virginia prison today. Supposedly murdered, 89 years old. Is it him? I saw something about somebody getting... no, he died. I saw somebody getting executed, and they said that it was like his brother. Jeffrey Crop, nice to have you on board from New Hampshire. Vertigo, Hitchcock. Yeah, Vertigo. The original Bates Motel. The original one is not bad at all. Jason Pongratz, nice to have you here. The Strangers. I don't remember that movie. I should watch that. I don't remember that movie. A Very Cranky Ham on 14205. Let's check that out, and then we'll see if, just by any chance, there could be some Halloween pirates already. Cyberflyer 1, good afternoon. Nice to have you on board. Thank you. So it's pretty cool to have everybody here. Man, time flies. 35 minutes. Reptilicus. Oh, that tells me something. I've probably watched that. We have like a 24-hour horror movie channel here. And I've, over the past 6 months, seen tons of movies I've never seen before. William Helm says, I've heard of him. The FBI lured him out, telling that his storage unit was burglarized. Psycho. Yeah, the name is Psycho. Thank you, William Helms. I knew it was not Bates Motel. It was not that, but I didn't remember. Oh, Bobby, cool. And let us know if you have any information from the HF Underground. Everything's falling apart here, you know. From the HF Underground. Jerry DX says they're redoing the Twilight Zone, coming out soon. Huh, that's going to be interesting. Yeah, Psycho is interesting. I mean, the guy looks so weird anyways that it's already scary. Just, I mean, I'd go in a hotel and that guy would be there. Okay, anything here? Just out of curiosity. There's something there. What's that? There's something on 6880 kilohertz AM. 6880 kilohertz AM right now. So I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. 6880 kilohertz. Okay, Gremlins. Yeah, Gremlins was comic horror. Well, you know, actually, I like that. I like. That's why I like Fright Night. I like horror movies that have a hint of humor in them, and that's the cool thing, you know. The best part in Fright Night is when it gets that rule where you can't, you know, there's no danger. If the vampire has not been invited in your home, you can't come in. And he comes back from school and his mom invited his neighbor and he just freaks out. That is an amazing moment in that movie. Oh, God. I didn't like Fright Night Remake, but I did like one moment in it when he's outside the door. And of course, he can't come in unless he's invited. So he's asking all sorts of things like, can I have a glass of water? Or can I have this or that? And he's just asking because he wants to be invited so he'll be able to get in the house. That part was kind of cool. But I rarely like the remakes of the old movies. I rarely find a remake as good as the original. Not always. There are some that the remake is actually good. Or even I've seen remakes that are better sometimes, but I rather watch the original. So 6880 kilohertz, I have a station in AM mode right now. William Helms says Animal House is a horror movie, but it sets the party mood. Bullfrog. One Twilight Zone episode I can't stand is a kid that could do stuff with his mind, turn his dad into a jack-in-the-box. Had everyone terrified. That reminds me of Simpson episodes. A Simpsons Halloween episode that's like that. What else do we have? Jerry DX says we used to have Creature Feature and Shocktober back in the 80s, all horror movies. They stopped doing it after a few years because they thought it encouraged bad behavior on Devil's Name. You know, that's the kind of thing that always makes me kind of cringe. We stopped doing that because people might do stuff. Yeah, let's stop selling knives because we could kill someone with it. Yeah, okay. Anyways, I'm actually drinking fast today. You guys gonna see a Halloween drunk? No, I'm gonna try to stay quite in control of the show. Man. What else do we have? Wish it into the cornfield, Tommy. The Critters. Oh, yeah, I saw the Critters, Dexpar. I did see that. I don't remember it too much. Wow. Ray Lyle, hope release Spectres of Shortwave on DVD here in the US when it's released. Want to see that. I've unfortunately only heard the audio of it, and the day that I had my tickets, I was so sick I just couldn't go and watch that. But just the audio, pretty cool movie. Pretty cool documentary of the CBC Radio Canada. That would be a Halloween type of thing. Spectres of Shortwave on Halloween night. So anybody hearing 6880? There's a station in AM mode. I'm hearing it right now. Yeah, The Thing. The Thing was good. Absolutely. Horrible Child by Bill Murray. Or Bill Murray? Bill Murray played the kid? Is it Bill Murray? Horrible Child. One that would technically be almost Halloween. There's one with Jack Ritter. I don't remember what's the name. Is it that? Horrible Child? What's the name of that movie? Him and his wife, they go into adoption and they adopt a little kid. And the first thing you see in the first scene is when the kid gets in the car, everybody just starts partying. They're happy that the kid's gone. And all through the movie, the kid does these horrible little things. They're just crazy. But that is true, Ray Lyle. Well, Spectres of Shortwave is an amazing documentary about the Sackville transmitter site in Canada. But yes, a good documentary about what's going on shortwave would be a nice thing. That would be nice. I mean, there's a few good documentaries that could be really nice. I would pay to see a documentary, a good one about shortwave radio, a good one about number stations. I mean, there are short stories about number stations, but a really good documentary, something like a 2-hour documentary, where they actually found some of the people that maybe don't want to be seen, but like, yeah, well, I used to be an agent and did that, and we had these things going, how it was working. These would be nice. Man, boy, psychological horror. Yeah, absolutely. Jason Pongratz says, I'm having a hard time finding a club offering a ham radio course in Ontario. What do you recommend for someone looking to get their license? Well, you need to go into one of the radio courses, that's for sure. What resource did you go to? Check out any amateur radio club and look at amateur radio club. Ask them. They will surely have you, point you in a direction of a place where you can go for a ham radio license. Did you actually go to any... Okay, you see, you're finding a club offering. Because there surely is a club. Are you close to Toronto? I would guess the big centers might have more luck. It's not that easy sometimes. Yeah, Children of the Corn, absolutely. Wow, I haven't seen that since the 80s. What's the cool radio beside me? That's a Patrolman CV60. It's I've got the SW60 also here, and this is what started me as multi-band receiving. That's what started me in VHF, UHF listening, honestly. Bill Mummy, Lost in Space. Oh, Problem Child, Jerry DX. Absolutely, Problem Child, absolutely. It's almost, Mino Poo, nice to have you here. G7DUY in Liverpool. Pretty cool to see you here. Yeah, Ghostbusters is kind of a classic, funny-ish movie. Yeah, Ghostbusters, absolutely. Firefly, yes, and it is actually called The Number Station. The movie set around a number station. It is actually called A Number Station, and of course, I had to watch that movie. I mean, it's based on and it's around. The first part of the movie is around the number station, which, you know, the guy is like a guard, and there's this woman that comes in every day, sits down, dictates a number of a packet, you know, tons of numbers, like a number station. And, you know, you can imagine today's number stations, like, you know, the Cuban one, are recorded voices. But honestly, I can imagine that for a long time, there probably were actually people sitting down at a desk reciting numbers. I mean, that's kind of a cool job. And by the way, you got a job where you got to recite numbers, and you can't tell anyone, and we won't tell you what it is. That's kind of a cool job. Number station lady or guy. And then, of course, they had all these recorded voices that came in. Some were so creepy. Some sounded creepy. Alfie72, nice to have you here. I didn't get the Radio Exterior de España English last night, but I don't know if some of you did. They're back in English and French and Arabic and what other language? I don't remember. Portuguese. I know a lot of people did get the Radio Exterior de España English yesterday. I saw on the DX Listening Digest that at 2300 hours on 9690, people tuned in English. So Radio Exterior de España is back in English. Now, I'm not sure if it's every day. I kind of saw a post saying that it was on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays only. And there was a rebroadcast on Saturday evenings, something like that. And I'll be trying today at 2300. If I hear it, I'll be posting the video. If I don't hear it, then I'll try. Tomorrow I won't be here. I'll try it on Friday and see if I can hear it. But it is definitive. Radio Exterior de España is back in English, guys. So this time around, not only did we pretty much not lose any stations on the B18 schedule changes, we actually get Spain back in English. And that is kind of cool. They're also back in French, which is kind of cool. So I don't know what was the decision behind the fact that they're back, but it's very, very nice. What else do we have? David in Barcelona. You got to go up to Radio Exterior de España and say thank you for being back in English and French. There are some of these movies on Netflix. Yeah, definitely. That I know that on Netflix there's a few, but I don't know which ones. Carrie. Yeah, Carrie, the original one is also a pretty, yeah. Pet Sematary. Pet Sematary, the original Pet Sematary isn't too bad also. The original It was great. Yep. Radioactive says, since there's a movie called Number Station, we need one called EAM for us Americans. Cujo, yeah, with the mad dog. I remember that. That was not bad. Ray Lyle, if I ever wanted to get my AM license, you know what, Ray? I just missed an opportunity that I'm sad to have missed because we just didn't talk. Fastload, that you guys see from time to time in the chat room, a friend of mine lives not far from here. He actually won a free amateur radio course when he participated in a contest at the Hamfest. And we didn't talk because when we did talk and he talked about his first course, he said, "Oh, I would have loved for you to be in the course with me." And I said, "Well, you should have told me. I would have paid." It was $125 for the course. I would have paid. It would have been nice to be together at the radio course. So I asked him last week. He had his first course. I said, "Hey, ask the guy if he minds that I join in onto the second, or I think it was on the third. I would be on the third lesson." And the guy said, "Yeah, I can't accept anyone on the third lesson. I'm sorry. There's too much material that's already been given." So if you would have said yes, actually, I would have been this Saturday and Sunday at an amateur radio course with that guy. So I missed my chance. But now that he's getting his ham license, it's actually giving me a little kick in the butt to do the same here. So I'll be checking that out. Why haven't I? Because a lot of people ask me all the time. I said, "Man, I look at your videos. I look at what you do. You're actually quite knowledgeable on radio. And I don't understand you don't pass your AM license." And you know what? I'm the kind of guy that's pretty happy with the listening side of the hobby. So I'm honestly happy listening. I've never found the urge to do it for some reason. Yet, I know one thing. I know that if I have my AM license with the HF privileges, I would actually be happy and would really love to be on the amateur bands and talk around the world. That's for sure. Steve Frost, nice to have you on board from Essex, the birthplace of radio in the UK. Chelmsford's Essex? I don't know if you pronounce it exactly. Hey, Zwell Farquhar, nice to have you here. Just got a Ventura radio. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen a Ventura radio. Yep, John Cusack is the guy in the Numbers film. Absolutely. Jared Nicholson, nice to have you here. CR, nice to have you on board from Brazil, PI2NN. The Birds, yeah, The Birds is a nice movie, absolutely. So it's Mondays, Wednesdays, or Fridays, 9690 kilohertz at 2000 UTC. So there ain't one today. It's going to be tomorrow, Wednesday. Hey Gary, nice to have you here from the UK. David says, "Yep, seems RE is going to expand again. The man who was previously the host of the mailback program, Amigos de Radio Exterior de España, was appointed as head of the station. He's one of us, so yeah, that's why it's there." I know, Jason Pongratz. I would probably, I did it a few times. I went to the Industry Canada, and Industry Canada, you can actually pass a exam online, 100 questions. And the last 2 times that I did it maybe 4 or 5 times. The last 2 times I did it, I had more. Last time was like, I had 89% score. And the time before that was 86% score. So I would definitely pass my license. Bullfrog says, "I have my general license. I listen far more than I talk, but I like knowing I have the option to talk." Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's true. And you know, today what's cool is that you get your ham license and it's for life. You don't have to renew anymore. So you just pay once. You got it for the rest of your life, which is actually a very good thing. Honestly, I like that. So what is that on 6880?
You gotta make safe places for us to stay in, see? Get all the books we can. Science books. That's where men like you come in, see? The radio museum. Just imagine this.
I don't know if anybody posted the information on HF Underground. 6880 kilohertz AM. What's the relay station? So that would be the relay station. 6880. So the relay station 6880 kilohertz seems to be the pirate relay station. KC1HOX, hey there Glenn. Studied for 2 weeks online, 4 free and passed. General license, it's not hard. Can I pass my license without having to go to the course? That would make it easy for me because I would just go and I'd probably pass it anyways. I understand. You know what? Fastload told me one thing though. Fastload went to the course, and Fastload is quite knowledgeable in electronics and everything. And he thought that, well, you know, I'll go to the course, but it's going to be like boring. But he told me, you know what? I enjoy the course because there's a lot of stuff I didn't know with all of it. And so it's kind of like, yeah, okay. I'm sure the course has a lot of things that I am unaware of that would probably be useful for me to know. That's for sure. John Young, nice to have you here. He says you just got a like new realistic DX 160 at a yard sale for 25 bucks. Lucky bum. I would have jumped on that for sure. Anybody with a yard sale that had a realistic DX 160, 25, you bet that baby would have been home also. You can't pass on such an occasion, that's for sure. That's for sure. Vancouver Island DXer says, if you get your ham license, you have to promise to your viewers that you will not abandon shortwave, because ham radio is a nasty habit of vacuuming up shortwave listeners. No, that will not happen, because I am a big fan of shortwave. And what I would probably do is maybe expand, had a show for amateur radio with the shortwave. So there would be a amateur radio specific show and a shortwave radio specific show. That's probably more what I would do than anything else. And although I would you know, I will talk, I will probably, I'm sure that the first few weeks of amateur radio license and a transceiver, I will want to do a lot of contacts. But I won't do just that. I will still do some shortwave, that's for sure. PA1WX, nice to have you on board. Happy Halloween. Our friend there in the Netherlands. Mad Boy has nothing on 6880 in Europe. Bobby Burgess here's nothing on 6880. Hey, Random Obvious, nice to have you on board. It's Sputnik from IRC. Hey, Sputnik, nice to have you on board. It's been ages since I've been able to be here live with you. Busy with life, and my daughter takes most of it. Recently passed his amateur radio license. Congratulations, man. That is cool. That is cool. So let's go back to 14230. See if we hear stuff. If I hear any signals. Radioactive. Testing out with Slow Scan TV. KF70LY on 14230. Real Isle says, I never wanted to be a ham operator. Nothing wrong with it. Just like shortwave listening. And you know, there's another side of the hobby also. And there are some people that actually are not the type of people that necessarily want to communicate with other people, with strangers all over the world. They just, you know, it's like there are people that listen in but never write to any stations. And basically, the thing here is some people just don't really want to communicate or do anything. And they're happy like that. They're just happy to listen in. It's not everybody that necessarily wants to talk or you know, participate. I'm a very social guy. So yeah, the occasion of talking with other AMs, communicate with other AMs somewhere else is an occasion I wanna take. That's for sure. But not everybody wants to do that. And you know, I've heard that a few times, and I think it's true. Amateur radio, a good amateur radio operator listens more than he transmits. I think it's totally true. You listen before you do anything. We're 1 hour into the show. I just want to do my little bit here of, if you like what I do, why not donate? You can donate through PayPal if you like what I do. I have a special show today. I hope you guys are enjoying that. PayPal.me/shortwave, or the Yahoo email that you might or might not see on the screen. I'll post it also in the chat room. So PayPal.me/shortwave, or the Yahoo email that you will see here. Also, you can become a patron at patreon.com and give a little something every month. It's a little tricky there, and sometimes some people have kind of had a little more than they wanted. But you know, of course, being an honest person, if you give me too much, I'll of course refund whatever you gave me that you didn't want to give me. But it's a great way of helping me out, helping me continue these live shows, and just having plain fun with radio. As we are the Halloween special, anybody that's just joining in, my name is Joel, located in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This is the Halloween special where we talk about radio, chase pirate stations. We have a pirate right now, that is on 6880, the relay station, hearing it here on the northeast, so it probably is on the northeast of North America. So thanks to everybody that donated, and it's a lot of fun to do these shows, to be here, and hope you guys enjoy our show. Let me check out the bottom part of 5 megahertz if something's there, just by the chance. There's nothing there. These are stat mags, so I don't hear any special thing. There's something there which is... that's interesting. Well, do you guys hear that? 5020 upper sideband. 5020 upper sideband. 5020 upper sideband. What is that? That's interesting. 5020 upper sideband. Some people talking in, it almost sounds Italian. I'm not sure. Pretty interesting. So I'm opening my Blonde from Hell now. So the team of Halloween, of course. After we had the Beer the Damned, we're not getting the Blonde from Hell. And this Blonde from Hell, 10.5%, is the next beer. So as we are into 1 hour and 5 minutes already, cheers everybody. So 5020, Upper Sideman, interesting. Random Hobbyist, I challenged the test and passed. My call is VA3 BPT. What you can do is find your local amateur radio club, approach them. I can almost guarantee there will be a licensed examiner who can give it. Okay. It's going to be interesting to check that out. KC1HOX, Glenn says in US, you just pass the test at a ham club. Huh. Okay. So that's interesting. I need to check that out. David in Barcelona says, planning to get my ham ticket before 2018 ends, already doing the online practice tests and scoring great. Just with my knowledge as a listener and with what I've learned both at university and in the aviation maintenance training I did several years ago, that started me in electronics. You know what is happening is that I have a lot of knowledge on the radio side. I do have some knowledge of amateur radio stuff already. I have knowledge in electronics because I went to I actually passed a course at a school called Tekar Electronics that actually I have a diploma where I've learned electronics, basic electronics, which is what they're asking for. So the electronics part, I got no problem with that. The radio part is not too much of a problem. I would say probably the part where it's giving me tricky things is the general license and the general, mostly the general, all the little rules that govern amateur radio, and you know how much power you can transmit in this thing, and can you, if you're in the, one of the questions I remember, if you're in the same room, can you let somebody that's non-licensed operate your amateur radio license if you are guiding them? All sorts of things like that. These tricky questions, I'm not sure. Because honestly, electronics part, I got no problem with that. And there's a lot of the amateur radio stuff, got no problem because I already know it. It's really the regulations around all of it. That's the tricky part. That's where my knowledge isn't so good, So let's check that out. Ray Lyle says CB radio talking from the time I was 10 in 76 to mid 90s was enough. Shortwave listening since 84 and still love it as much today as I did back then. And that's quite all right, Ray. Honestly, you don't have to be an amateur radio operator, and you just listening. If you're happy, just listening is perfect. It's quite all right, honestly. Jason Pongratz, think of all the ham radios you could buy. That's the scary part, As well, fucker. Yeah, sure. I don't know what you are and what you have in mind for collaboration on YouTube, but send me an email at officialshortwaveradio@gmail.com and we'll see. Just ask away. We'll see what we can do. I have no problem with that. I would be happy, honestly. David says, already have an ICOM IC 7100 transceiver in my way. It allowed me to transmit, but it's also enabled me to monitor two frequencies at the same time. One is R8500 and the other one with the IC 7100. Jerry, no, I had no luck with the ISS TV, International Space Station Slow Scan TV this weekend for a very simple reason. Saturday morning, I woke up. It's like, hey, I gotta listen. There was only 2 morning passes when I woke up. I woke up like at 9:30. There was a pass like 11, and there's another one like at 12 at noon, a little bit past noon, and almost 1 p.m. and there was the only 2 passes until the next passes in the early hours of the morning. My software was not updated properly, so the what I had in the software posted me times that were 10 minutes later than the official time, which made me like, I didn't hear anything, and I thought, well, are they transmitting? Yeah, they were. They were. And so I missed that. Sunday morning, I had 2 passes again, but the problem was, I was at the International Radio Report on CKUT. So I just couldn't, I just couldn't do it. And basically the next day was yesterday morning, Monday. But all hell broke loose on Sunday night, which made me, I was somewhere else yesterday morning. I was just, my head was somewhere else. Something really bad happening in my personal life, and it's taking a toll on me. So I wasn't there. So I was like, yeah, I thought about it yesterday afternoon. I was like, oh yeah, there were classes this morning for the International Space Station, but I wasn't there, Vancouver Island DXer says, unfortunately, many hams view shortwave strictly as a training ground for ham radio. They just can't grasp the fact that some people prefer just to listen. That is true. I've seen and heard many amateur radio operators just honestly being even mean to a radio listener and saying, well, you're just a listener. I am, amateur radio operator, so I am more, I have knowledge and you have no knowledge. Well, I can tell you one thing. If you think that, I can tell you one thing. That so many times I've heard amateur radio operators talk, and it's like you listen in, and I was like, whoa, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's licensed. I know what I would talk about with that subject, and I'm not licensed. So one of the things that some amateur radio operators need to understand, stop thinking that listeners are just dumb and have no radio knowledge. Because you're going to be very surprised at some of the people that listen and don't have their ham license and know 100 tons more than you do, even though you got your license. So you got to be careful with that. And I am not one of those. I think shortwave listening is great. And you know what? You don't have to be an amateur radio operator. You don't have to get your ham license. If you're happy with just listening, so be it. It's okay. KC1HOX says, I find SATCOMs, DMR, and D-Star fun, as well as packet and APRS. Sending text to peeps' cell phones from my radio is fun. Nothing in Albany, says Bullfrog89. Matham Valley, there's nothing wrong with being both a ham and a short listener. Most of my radio time of the past few years has been back to shortwave. Yes, the blonde is open. Oh, man. What else do we have? Vancouver Island DXer, start working on your Morse code speed now to help prevent you from getting stuck on voice or on digital modes. Yeah, I'm very, very, rusty on Morse code. When it's very slow, I can kind of make it out, but I need training to really get Morse code going. I saw a post today. Was it on Halloween day that they did it? Because Bullfrog89 says, you know what, we've gotten the original radio play of War of the Worlds on classic radio and great bit of history. Because I saw somebody post, maybe today's the day, it was 80 years ago that they've done the War of the Worlds radio broadcast that drove some people pretty nuts, honestly. Steve Frost says 5020 USB loud and clear. Pirate on 6930 AM. Let's check that out. Anything here? Oh yeah, with a wobbly signal. That's 6930.2. It's very weak here, but I do see it on the waterfall. So 6930 AM. There's another pirate right now. K-Wall66, nice to have you here. You know what? I got tired of doing the Windows or the tech shows. There wasn't that many people watching, and they take much more time to actually prepare than this show. And at some point, and I got a lot of rant from a lot of people, and I decided, you know, the hell with it. I ain't going to do those live shows anymore. I don't feel like doing them again. But I do have ideas of other shows, but the tech shows ain't coming back. I got tired of this. The radio shows are fun to do. There's a lot more people watching the radio shows anyways. And I don't know. I'll see for the rest what I'm going to do, honestly. We'll see. Radioactive, transmitting MFSK16 images on 14077 KF7ELY. Patrick Manny, happy Halloween. Nice to have you on board. You know what, Jerry DX, you say International Space Station was playing games this past weekend, hard to tune in. I heard somebody say that the first few slow scan TV pictures, they punched in the wrong frequency, and they were transmitting on another frequency than 145.800. David Barcelona says, follow a Spanish ham on Twitter. The call is EB1TR. And he also became a big fan of shortwave listening, which demonstrates that ham radio and shortwave listening not only aren't mutually exclusive, but very complementary. Absolutely. Especially if you're in the ham bands on the HF. You're just in bands that are within the shortwave spectrum. And there's a lot more in there. So I don't like AMs that poo-poo shortwave. Too many of them do that. They poo-poo shortwave. No, it's, shortwave's not for me now. I have a ham license. And David says, what's more, I actually consider shortwave listening to be a form of ham radio. It is a form of ham radio. There's a lot of experimentation, that's for sure. And he says, since lots of the experimentation licensed ham do, by my own experience, can also be done without transmitting at all. Absolutely. Absolutely. Don Stefano says, thank you. It was a nice feature, and I'm only a shortwave listener. Yeah. Oh, okay. Far East Man. And, yeah. The truth about life is shortwave, and that's the only thing you need to know. I'm the shortwave god. And no offense to anyone. Bullfrog 89, first played October 30th, 1938. Okay, thanks for the info. So 80 years ago. Wow, that's a radio event in itself. War of the Worlds broadcast on October 30th, 1938. Pretty interesting, and pretty. It's a big chunk of history, of radio history, actually. Hey, John, K7RBN. Nice to have you on board, and cheers. The Random Hobbyist. I'm more of a listener myself on the ham bands. I find funny how some amateurs think they're God. A lot of them do, actually. And that's sad. The way they talk, the way they bully other hams. 7200, 3860, 14313, sample frequencies. You know, one of the things that is sad is any amateur radio that belittles any other I won't mention any names, but there's this guy that always rants against me in Finland. He's been part of a few Facebook groups, and they kicked him out because no respect for anybody. No respect for, when you think you know everything and that everybody else is wrong, I think you've got a problem, not everybody else. That guy is exactly what happened. When I got warned by a few, actually I had 3 or 4 admins of different groups where I am at, tell me, look, this guy asked for, membership to our group. We know what he did to you. We're going to tell you we are accepting as a member because, we can't say no. He hasn't done anything wrong for us. But we will not accept that he uses these places to rant against you. Or will not accept if he just doesn't play right. And I thought, well, thanks for warning me. It's cool that, admins took time to come to me and say, hey, we have this guy that, we know he's really, really ranting against you, and we've got him in the same group you are in. So, and it was nice to see also that admins were behind me saying, hey, we're not going to accept that he actually does anything or attacks you in any way. So it's kind of cool to have great people like that are saying, look, it's fine. I totally understand why you would accept him if he done nothing wrong to you. It's not because me and him have a rant that you got to refuse him in any group. I'm not that kind of guy. But it took 2 weeks, and every time somebody would post something, he'd just come back and give his speech on how this is not like that, and this is, and using a language that belittles others, that makes them feel like they're nobodies, that they have no knowledge, that they shouldn't even be here. And I guess that guy doesn't even see that he posts things like that, honestly. And, a lot of them would come back and say, well, I'm sorry, but, and some people would post and say, well, why do you belittle the other? And why do you, it's not because he has no knowledge or this or that. And you know what? He got kicked out rapidly of most of the groups. And he would always come back and say, well, I have knowledge and I am you think you're God. And that everybody else is an idiot. And, I have no respect for somebody that's like that. Honestly, I've never been like that. I am not like that. I think that's why there's a jealousy from the part of that guy. I totally know that I don't have all the knowledge in the world. I many times said something that you guys have corrected, which is great, because now I know it. Now my knowledge is even more. It's expanded. I know more things. Because some of you will say, well, no, you're not right. That's not what it is. Or that's not how it works. And I accept that. I actually find that it's fine. You told me I was wrong on that thing. Great. I got no problems with that. That's the way we learn. Because we all have a knowledge of something that somebody else wouldn't say one day, oh, no, that's not how it works. You are wrong. I want to know how it is for real, so I'm okay with that. But the problem is every time that guy has to say that what you said is wrong, he says it in a way that, well, you feel belittled. It's like, feeling that, well, you're a piece of crap and you know nothing, and that's pretty much how he makes you feel in the way that he deals with it, which is very, very sad. And actually what's so funny about it is the videos he made against me, actually made me have more viewers. Because everybody was like, well, I got to go see what that guy is. Because he's ranting about it. So, you know, when they say bad publicity is good publicity, or any publicity, or any ways of getting someone talking about you is a good thing. You know, one artist that actually understood that? Madonna. Madonna understood, let's be controversial in whatever. It makes everybody talk about me. And she deals and works with that greatly. And you know what? It's sad to have people that belittle others, honestly. We're all here to have fun, honestly. Jerry DX, nice to have you on board. Jerry, well, I was distracted. You're already on board, but you said that makes sense now. As fast load, I want to say, hey, welcome aboard. But Jerry DX says makes sense now. Yeah, the what I've heard is that the International Space Station, they punched in the wrong frequency in the first few hours of the broadcast of Slow Scan TV pictures, and so they were on, I don't remember what frequency, like 145.460 or something, rather than 145.800. They punched in the wrong frequency. So nice to have you on board, Fastload. Ray Lyle says, my little mental block right now is decoding with my SDR. Just started working with decoding software about a year ago. Got a little, but still have a way to go. It's a lot of fun. You have to do that. Matambali, I think it's not what ham radio operators are generally like. It's the jerks that are generally like that. Yeah, jerks that have licenses. Look, honestly, I've met enough amateur radio operators over the years to find that they are, for the most part, great people. Participated in many things where amateur radio operators were there and talked with them. The majority of them are just great guys. And the majority of the ham radio operators that I talked with had total respect of me and my listening hobby. And yes, there's a few of them. The few of them that are just, you know. What's the costume? Dead prisoner? I'm a China Radio International prisoner from hell. I'm sure I'm going to get my QSL card from China Radio now. You know? Oh, by the way, I had a live show and I was actually wearing your CRI jacket. And I called myself a CRI prisoner from hell. Yeah, give me my QSL card now. Gary Seward says, I've been on the ham bands for years and I find it very good at 68. I'm sure. Kunowitz, Major. It's so impressive that only a small minority of people know anything about shortwave number stations. Honestly, look around you. Take 20 of the people you know and ask them if they know anything about shortwave radio. And you'll be lucky if one person, you'll be lucky if just one says, yep, I know what it is. And it's even worse today. You'll be lucky to have anybody just have a knowledge of what shortwave radio is all about. And that we've got to live with. And I mean, just look back. I've been listening for 35 years, 35 plus years. Even back then, my best friend was one of my best friends was a shortwave listener because of me. He saw what I was doing. He found it so cool to listen to stations all over the world. And we did it together, and it was nice. That was nice. That was a cool moment of, you know, being with a friend that is interested in everything in technology and so on, because it gave him the urge and the feel that he wants to listen to shortwave. But if I take out that guy, I remember I was 16 years old in grade 5 high school, and I remember we could talk about in the French language course to test out our French or spoken French. We could have a we could talk about any subject we wanted. We had like 15 minutes, 20 minutes allocated where talk about something you love. And of course, first thing that came up is shortwave radio. It was one of the things that I love. And I thought it would be cool. We were 32, 33 people, 33 kids in a class. Well, no one at all knew about what I was doing. And I remember all the people around being impressed. Because remember, in 1986, we're in the middle of the Cold War. We're still in the major part of the Cold War. U.S. and USSR are going at it all the time. Canada feels stuck in the middle of some kind of, and pretty much every country is in many European countries. We all feel stuck in the middle of something we can't control. And there's the hysteria behind it. And I brought a bunch of letters. Radio Moscow, Radio Berlin International from the east part of Germany, and a couple of communist countries. And people look at that, and they were amazed. I got a letter. I've got documentation coming from Eastern Bloc countries, from the USSR. And everybody was just amazed. Wow, you get stuff from all of those countries. And 25 years later, we had a high school reunion. And, I met tons of people, again, that I had never seen for 25 years, pretty much. And there was one guy. One guy came up to me and said, "Hey, Joe, still listening to shortwave?" I still remember how amazing that was when you did your bit on shortwave radio in the French class. And I said, "Wow, you remember that I did that?" And he said, "Man," he said, "I'll never forget. I still remember when I took that envelope with stuff in it, and I looked, and it said Radio Moscow, Moscow, USSR." And people were just amazed. I mean, for most of us, these countries were locked down. So having the possibility of just getting a letter from there was unheard of, It was just crazy. So North America, yes, the Western world falls back on November 4th. We actually have a 1 hour, we change our clocks an hour back, and this weekend. So yep. Jerry DX says, "Would love to hear War of the Worlds on his R75 years ago." Yeah. You would have heard that on a tube set. Brian, Iowa, nice to have you on board. Acting like that keeps the young people from being a ham sometimes. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, like Fazlot says, been listening hams for a while. Not always interesting conversations on there. Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of just chit-chat, Kimberly K6YRL says, I think I know that guy. Well, he's a jerk. Yeah, I know. But you know what? That's the... KC1HOX says, I turned my VFO when some buttheads start to crap, I find most radio people very generous. Yeah, pretty much. Brett Wayne, KC2 NXP from Salamanca, New York. Yes, he has his own YouTube channel where he has at least 3 or 4 videos with my facing and just saying that I'm an idiot, basically. Hey, Matt, MDK2, he knows what I'm talking about. Can tell you that. But you know what? It's very sad because if he wouldn't belittle others, I'm honest enough to say that some of the content he has is great. I actually was subscribed to that guy before he started just, you know, hitting me on the head with these videos. I said, well, you know, the hell. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna go there and I'm sorry. I can't stand somebody. I can't stand somebody that just belittle others when he has to talk about a subject. There's a way to talk about something. There's a way to tell someone you're wrong without making him feel like he's crap. Honestly. Dan Walsh, a very humble Jill, great example. I try to. I don't pretend to be anything I'm not, and you know, I got to tell you, I'm not here for that, anyways. And I think that's what a lot of people like. An average guy that just has fun with everybody out there. Yes, we are, Matt, talking about a certain YouTuber. Hey, Yvonne, good afternoon. Take care. Oh, you know what, KC1HOX? I gotta tell you, I got my share of trolling and you should see the comments I get when I wake up in the morning. I mean, wow. You know, nothing better than sitting down with your cup of coffee at 9 a.m. and the first thing you see is, you should drop dead, you piece of crap. It starts the day perfectly. Sheldon Harvey, bonjour, hi, nice to have you on board from Greenfield Park. So we've got a Pirate on 6930, Sheldon. We've got the relay station that seems to be gone from 6880. It's left 6880. There's some really big, weird noise thing on 6935 or around there. So we'll continue. I don't know if we still hear 5020. 5020, nope. So what else do we have here? Oh, this is digital hash of some sort. So nothing much happening there. Cuba on 5025. So we don't hear that Cuba on 5040. We don't hear these guys anymore. Let's go down to 4055 just to check out on the bottom part of 4 megahertz if there's anything. But sometimes some of the pirates on the very low frequencies, especially with the low solar activity, so nothing much there. So interesting. So before you ask, Sheldon, I am a China Radio International prisoner from hell. You got my number here. You can check it out on the internet. Nice to have you here, Sheldon. Oh man, no problem, Matt. FX2 Mark 8 from Michigan. Nice to have you on board. Steve Frost says, too many hams knock CB radio. I use all modes here in the UK, especially SSB, shortwave listening. I like ham radio and could pass the exam if I wanted. That also. is something that is something that is often the case also. I've seen some AMs poo-poo CB radio. And I can tell you, I've had some CBers be better operators than some amateur radio operators that I've seen, honestly. Yep, Kimberly, I know. It's a form of a troll, absolutely. Donald Hosmer, don't piss off the ghost of Chairman Mao. I will not. AJ Watterson 69, nice to have you here. Radioactive is mostly a listener than a ham radio listener. Donald Osner, W8SWL in Northern Michigan, nice to have you here. Yeah, I did see that, Matt. I mean, he can't. Is the skull in their head acidic? Oh man, Sheldon. I was about to say something bad. I'm going to wear that at Outremont. Sheldon. God. God, please. Radioactive. Transmission all done here. I hope some of you were able to catch the images. Take care, my friend Radioactive. It's nice to have you here. Ray Lyle, the Cold War years made some great shortwave listening. Absolutely. I mean, it was part of why a lot of broadcasters existed. Hey, Mad Boy 73, take care. Ray Lyle says Jill and I started the shortwave listening about the same time, around 84. Yeah. My shortwave listening started in the summer of 1982. When my realistic DX100. And been hooked since. It's funny because if we go back in 1982, I'm a 13-year-old teenager. I never would have thought that I would be doing, first, I never thought the internet would exist and we would be just surfing the world and watching videos from everywhere around the world, and that this thing called YouTube would have existed. That was, with the technology of 1982, no, it's impossible. Nothing like that can exist in the world. It was just something very impossible, honestly. And to be here, talk about shortwave radio today, honestly, and have a live show that you guys from all around the world watching, you know, just it's still mind-boggling, honestly, to see all of you watching from everywhere. And it's, I don't know, I'll never cease to be amazed at all of this happening, you know. And that, you know, you could now, with little money, have a little studio in your home, broadcasting to the world. You know, something that for years was, well, you got to have that really amazing studio that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. And now you've got cameras that are good enough to do broadcasts on the internet. You know, cheap lighting that's good enough to do the job. And it's just crazy. Don Stefano, good night. And I will have fun and enjoy Roger Hodgson concert tomorrow, absolutely. I can't wait. I think it's going to be so much fun. Steve S. from Scotland, nice to have you here. What else do we have? Matambalik, something unscheduled on 6115. Yeah, I think it's WWCR. It's there's a Spanish show on WWCR, so maybe that's it. Honestly, 6115. So it's probably that. What's on 6170? This must be Radio Romania in English, 6170.
You may have already seen the spoon in our event. I have several items on display rather than
Radio Romania 6170.
In our exhibitions, you will find several multimedia installations presenting parts of our research findings in a form that takes the boundary of imagination one step further. What we have also found out from Slam the Post.
China Radio International from Albania Transmitter Relay 5960.
But it is thought that today in modern day China, when so many of us were ordering takeout, we're on your smartphone, so easy, but there's so much oil and salt that we consume.
David says, I wonder if Jill's name is still on some forgotten paper list somewhere. I don't think back then an envelope from the USSR could go just through the mail system without raising a single eyebrow. You know, I got letters from pretty much all Eastern Bloc countries. Countries that were complicated like, Syria and Iran and Iraq. All I gotta say is that there must be somewhere in a file in Ottawa that somebody put the little name Gilles, little no on it, and said, that guy, I'm gonna watch because he's receiving mail from all of these countries that we don't like. And I don't know if Sheldon's still listening. I would be interested to know if that stayed. If that, even today as 2018, Cold War might be over, but as of 2018, maybe there's still a little file with my name on it somewhere in Ottawa that says that guy, maybe some, Canadian, security thing was the SCRS, the Canadian equivalent of the FBI or whatever, is watching this show and saying, hey, let's watch this guy. He's communist, socialist, and maybe a spy for some foreign country or something. Richard Cook, nice to have you on board. Voice of Korea on 7570 in English. Let's try 7570 just out of curiosity. I can tell you one thing. I don't hear it because it's too weak in the noise, but if I go 1 kilohertz down on USB, there's actually the etherodyne, the hint of the Voice of Korea being there on 7570. Honestly. FX2 Mark 8 says that he sent a shortwave radio to a 14-year-old boy from Angletree this year. Hope he enjoys it. I hope he does. So few young generation today know what it's all about. Jack in 9 IIF says shortwaves for me started in 1968. Those must have been, the 60s, the 70s. That must have been some pretty good shortwave times, honestly. That must have been some really, really cool times to listen to. When I got in the 80s into the shortwave hobby, I missed out on some stations that existed before I started. Also, I missed out on some stations that I had a crappy radio, the DX Realistic DX100. When I, tried it out today, it was a crappy radio. It was a crappy radio. So I missed out on a lot of stations because I didn't have a good radio. So, there's a lot of stuff that I would have loved. Donald Hosmer says, in 1965, we had a visit from the local FBI, a postal report complaint. He looked at the wall of QSLs, acknowledged it was a hobby, and I never heard anymore. I later got governor's security clearances. I remember getting an English copy of Chairman Mao's little red book from Radio Peking. You know, it's I would say the moment where you think as what is happening. I had a couple of letters from Eastern Bloc countries that I was intrigued because they arrived here as registered mail, and I had to sign for them. And one of the things that I always wondered was, why? Come on, these countries can't be sending me registered mail. It costs a fortune. I thought, could it have been, and we'll never know, could it have been a way from the Canadian government to ask me to sign up for something, to just prove, some kind of proof that I'm the guy behind it someday? A couple of times I got mail, and they would say it's damaged mail. It would be put in a clear plastic envelope. Oh, the mail was damaged. The problem is that I remember one letter in particular. It was from, I think it was from Radio Berlin. It was clear cut through the envelope. Okay, so somebody decided, bring that to us. We'll open the envelope and check what's in it. Put it in a clear plastic cellophane thing, and just send it and say, oh, well, it's damaged through the mail. I don't know. There's some of these that are kind of weird. I can understand there might be some damage through the mail, but there's a limit to how the damage could be. You know, I mean, I received damaged stuff that you see the envelope is just all crapped out. There's something happened to it. But it's very clear cut through an envelope, and you're like, that's funny. Doesn't look like regular damaged mail. Looks like somebody opened it to see what was in it. Southern Illinois Sam, nice to have you here. What's the most scary moment ever heard on shortwave radio? Brother Stare screaming? Well, the Brother Stare moaning sessions are rather zombie-like. That I gotta say. You know, Halloween night, I would put a Brother Stare moaning session in a loudspeaker outdoors. It'd be as scary as any type of Halloween tracks. The screaming preacher would be nice. You just put the very loud noise and he starts talking, you know. Oh, now every Jesus in this come. And then you have that shouting, that crazy moment where kids would just jump out. But honestly, scariest moments, when I was 13, I was alone. Okay, so an evening. So, you know, let's face it. Let's be honest. Guys or girls, who cares? We all have these little moments where we get scared for something, you know. I remember we were young, and we would go, there was this neighbor's house, and somebody had noticed that from the side of the house, we could at night open the window from outside and go in the basement. And we didn't steal anything. We weren't, you know, I don't know why in 1980, 81, we weren't kids. We weren't stealing anything. We were just having fun. There's no malicious intent. And one of the guys would always say, oh, apparently there's, you know, a body in the basement, and they're hiding it. And of course, there's always these stories. We all have that neighbor that the house looks spooky, and somebody says, well, there's maybe they killed somebody, or children died, but it's mysterious, and anyways. So we had that local story here that there was a dead body in the basement, and one of the scares we would have is there would be 2 or 3 guys that would hang out together, and when I was 12, 13 years old, and like at 10 p.m. in the summertime, when your parents just don't care and you're outside at 10 p.m. And I would, my parents didn't care anyway. So, it's like I could be out at midnight at 13 years old, and nobody would ask me where I was. And we would go there. We'd open the window and go inside. But of course it's dark. And we'd have I was always the guy with a flashlight. I don't know why. Nobody else, because probably I was already interested in electronics and everything. I was always the guy that, oh, well, Jill, bring a flashlight. Yeah, I'm the only guy that has a darn flashlight. So anyways, we would go down and it's dark. It's just that little flashlight spot that's this big going through. And we would get scares with that. But for shortwave, around the first year of shortwave listening, I was alone at home all day. It was a gray November night day, where it's dark, but it's 1 p.m., but it's kind of dark. And I started tuning around shortwave, and I stumbled upon a signal that was kind of the signal just sounds like any type of sound they put in a horror movie, because it just sounds spooky. And I remember I tuned there, and I was like, oh, what's that? And I was alone, it was dark, and that noise came through. I mean, I almost shit in my pants. I was, for a moment, it was like I remembered like turning off the radio, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go watch TV now. So if I had one funny, young, innocent, scary moment, that's a scary one. And they're scary for others, if we could say. I've heard in times when Sheldon was a host for a Sunday night net on 2 meter bands, and I remember one night somebody came through and says on 5616, I think, or 5696. I don't remember what frequency, but I remember it was on 5 megahertz, and it was a maritime frequency. Well, they had rescue efforts for a boat that was on fire on the East Coast in the Atlantic Ocean. That's scary for them. That was amazing listening. 2 or 3 years ago at Perry Island, the expedition, where I accidentally, in the middle of the afternoon, tuned the 17 megahertz frequency. And the video is online. If you guys want to watch it at some point, the video is still on my channel. And it's emergency. There's a guy having a heart attack aboard a plane. They did a phone patch with ground to have a doctor give, recommendations and pointers of what to do, and he would ask questions. That's, scary moment for somebody else. Things like that. And, okay, one that was scary. That was scary for me. Sometimes when I had my CB radio, and when I was about 15, I would sometimes be a jerk on the CB band. And I'm not the guy that would interfere with with intentional CBers, but I'm the guy that would be like saying things like shouldn't have said, like, Um, I would go on and say, hey, the guy would give out his, I shouldn't say this, it's horrible. I was a bad kid sometimes. And I would say, there was a guy, what was his name? His handle was like, I don't know. I don't remember. I remember I was always telling him, I said, well, your mom is ugly. And I remember once he said, well, don't say that again, because I've hauled the things that I have in my truck. I can track you down. So I just started, your mom is ugly. Your mom is ugly. And my CB radio was in the living room. And I remember he was getting closer. I could see the needle get higher and higher. So it's like, wow, that guy is getting closer where I live now. He's really tracking me down. Your mama's ugly. Your mama's ugly. That was bad. And I got on the balcony outside, and this guy comes out of a blue truck with a big antenna on top, and he's looking everywhere on the top of the houses. Is there a CB antenna here? He just was in front of my house. And I can tell you, I was scared as hell. I was like, oh God. Oh God. He's straight in front of my house. That's a scary moment where somebody's going to just punch you in the face. Oh, crazy. Crazy times. Ray Lyle, with my shortwave radio back in the mid-'80s, never imagined SDR or shortwave listening using anything like that. It's amazing looking back and see what we have come in 3 decades. Absolutely. 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 It is totally nuts when you think about it. Totally nuts. Bullfrog, now if they're watching you, Joe, they know you're a radio hobbyist. Yeah, pretty much. Brett Wayne says I'm extra crass and I talk on CB. So, and listen to shortwave. So he's, Brett is the great type of guy. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They do track a lot of things on the internet. Nothing here on 12.0.5. Lots of stations on the 25 meter band right now. I'm going to try to tune that. What a nickel. Nice to have you on board. KC9RHH. Happy Halloween in southeastern Illinois. Mark Glone. Nice to have you here. Yeah, Sheldon, I saw that. The KISS end of the world tour. Last tour. Don't they all say that? It's the last tour, and then like 3 years later, they're like, well, we're doing our last tour. But, yeah. These guys are getting old. I don't know what age they are, but KISS has been around for a long time. KISS has been around for a long time. There's one I want to see is, I don't know, I haven't bought the tickets yet. Brian Adams coming to Montreal in January. Sammy Sampson, nice to have you on board, and happy Halloween. G0VMN. Brett Wayne, shortwave started in the late 60s for him too. Bullfrog, is anyone familiar with any companies that does repairs of radios? I have one that belonged to my uncle who is in Saskatchewan, who is SK. It's a multi-band receiver from the 80s. Best guess. Any radios that's in the 80s or before 1990, I would try to find a local repair shop that's been there for decades and have it fixed from a guy like that. So, Matam Ballet says, likewise, sometime in the late 60s, stuck to the radio ever since. Sorry, I got a blackout for a moment here. Something came up to mind that I forgot to do today. And I just had a blackout, and somebody I snapped out, and it's like, hey, you're live, man. You can't just be daydreaming. Got something on 94.85. Nothing here. Nothing here. Hey, Matt, back home. Cool. Vancouver Island DXer makes no sense for government security agencies to be permanently suspicious of all young radio hobbyists because their technical skills and geographical knowledge can make them good future employees. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. La Crosse, Wyoming EAS. Hello. I need suggestions. Should I buy a PL310 ET? It's a good radio, and the ETM scan is great. So, yeah. It's a great shortwave receiver. Absolutely. And Matt is getting snippets of Romania DRM on 94.90. Zach Antle. Nice to have you here, Zachary. And I always seem to miss everything. Jay Watterson 69. Speaking of flashlights, what flashlight do you have in your DXing kit? Do you carry one every day, or what do you have for use around the house? Well, that's a nice question. So I've got a LED portable light. You know, it has a handle. It's made for camping, but I have it here in the home with pretty fresh batteries all the time. So if there's a power outage, I'll use that. That I don't bring with me, of course, on the expeditions. I've got little gizmos that were given to me by when I got the CountyCom GP5 SSB receiver. CountyCom sent me these little gizmos, like, you know, these little flashlights like this, that are pretty cool, honestly. They are actually Army grade, so if you drop it in water, for example, they float. And one that I've kept in I actually have a flashlight in my pocket all the time, which is this little one. It used to be attached to my keys, but the key ring broke. So this one is very nice because there's three lighting grades. So you just turn it quickly, and the highest grade is actually so powerful, and the battery's fresh, and it's just one AA battery. It's just amazing how strong this thing is. This is with me all the time, and it helped me so many times when I need to help out. It's very very useful. So I've got that. Pretty much all of what I've got. And one of the things that I do use, and it's here. So this is the X-Dragon battery pack. So of course you see here it has USB ports. So you can charge. So I can, if I go away for like 2 days or even a full day, and I know I'm going to use my phone a lot, what I do is I bring a USB cable to charge my phone. And this is a charging device. It has a 10,000 milliamp hour battery. But there's one little extra with this, and is that if I press and hold, I've got a light on this thing. And this thing, I've tested it one day. You'll get 15 hours of light before it actually goes out. So this is also something I use for keeping light in conditions where there would be a power outage, which is very nice. And plus, charges your phone. This charges almost 2 times my phone fully. So it's a very nice pack. And it's pretty cool. So this is X-Dragon. I bought it on eBay, I believe. And this thing has been with me, and it has a solar panel here. Solar panel, if you leave this 2 full days in the sun outside, it should be charged. I think they say it should be charged at least 80%. So it's long, but it does work. So if you're in the camping area, the battery's gone, leave this, and 2 full days will give you 80%. If not, 1 full day in the sunshine will give you the flashlight all night. So there's a few little things that are pretty cool. And I've had this for, I've had a lot of these, and they all failed like in a pretty restrained amount of time. But this one has been with me for at least a year now, and works great. It's very rugged the way that it's constructed, and it's really, really a nice battery pack. The X-Dragon one I like this. So that's pretty much what I have in flashlights and lights in case of emergencies, honestly. Ray Lyle says, scariest moment in Shortwave for me, accidentally turned the timer function on and didn't know it. 6 hours later, radio turns on and I just had jumped out the window. Just about jumped out the window. It took me 15 minutes to get my heart rate, especially if the the volume was high and you're not sure what's going to happen. Zachary Antle, ever seen the Unsolved Mysteries? LMSO with the Haunted House and the radio that tunes itself. I've never seen that episode. That's kind of interesting. Matt says there's an excellent thriller story by Davis Grubb, the guy who wrote Night of the Hunter, called Radio. Matambali says, something like that happened to me. Radio in the next room was somehow set to turn on every day, like 3 p.m. and stayed on for. One of the funnest things about here is that there's so many radios that if I accidentally have the random, like the alarm set random, if one turns on, I never know which one is on. It takes me an hour to find out. There was one that drove me crazy actually last year. It would beep for about 15 seconds and then stop, and it wouldn't beep anymore until the next 24 hours. And you know what? It's interesting because it just every day would do it, because every day I would tell myself, man, I got to find which one. But the problem was, it was a middle of like all the radios, and I didn't know which one was on. Even though I would look at them, I couldn't see which one was doing it. And 15 seconds meant that I heard it most of the time, like from another, room, would run in. But by the time I would like hear it's somewhere here, it would stop. It was like, okay. It took me a long time before I knew which one was actually doing it. That also, Matambali is one. One of them turned on once, and the volume was very low, and I was like, I'm hearing voices somewhere, and I just couldn't pinpoint where it was coming from. Bullfrog 89. Kids going for another final tour. How are they doing to do with the walkers and oxygen bottle? Paint them to match. Oh yeah, that would be great. Can you remember Radio Caroline in the 60s in the UK? Yeah, a lot of people. That's also a part of radio history, honestly. Pirate reported by the guy in Virginia on 6925. Let's check it out. Nothing here. Nothing here. Let's tell the time on 6830. Don't have anything. Don't have anything here. John Young, I keep plenty of flashlights, but also have some liquid fuel Coleman lanterns for emergencies. You know, better be prepared than be sorry. Honestly, better be prepared than sorry. What else do we have? Hey, M. Blair, nice to have you here. And happy pre-Halloween. Hey, Lion Man, nice to have you here. M. Blair, could you please help me identify a digital signal that sounds like pipe organ music on 7076? Wait. 7076 is JT65. 7074 is FT8. But anyways, it's one of those modes. A lot of people tune in and don't know what they are, especially in AM mode. You'll hear them, and you're like, what the hell is that? I don't know if I can... Sometimes it can sound very spooky and very strange. But FT8, JT65 has always been very, very unique. Can tell you that. Oh yeah, tomorrow, Matham Valley. Tomorrow is very important. Tomorrow is the big pirate night. Tomorrow is going to be the night where all the pirates are going to be there. So please tune in, and tune in all week too. I can tell you that. Hey, Rodolfo65, nice to have you here. Pretty cool. Anyone remember, or Ray Lyle says, anyone remember the pirate station from the mid-90s called Radio Metallica? Yeah, Metallica. Radio Metallica Worldwide. Radio Metallica Worldwide, absolutely. That was one of the big ones in the 90s. I have a QSL from one that was also popular. That pirate was called Radio Piranha International. And he would broadcast from different countries around the world. I have a QSL here when he was in South America and broadcasted on 13 megahertz. There were some fun pirates. Was it with Sheldon that I talked about it? We talked about pirates, and you know, a couple of weeks back, there was a pirate that was drunk on the air, and the guy was really drunk, and he was radio. What was it? Radio Boogaloo or whatever. I don't remember the exact name. But the guy was drunk and singing songs before he would actually put them on the air. And he would sing requests that he'd seen on HF Underground. And, you know, I saw a lot of posts, people saying, well, you know, that guy's drunk on the air and blah, blah, blah. It's a pirate. I'm sorry, but it's a pirate. Who cares? That's a pirate. A pirate does whatever he wants. I'm sorry. There's no guidelines of don't be drunk on the air. There's no... It's a pirate. And I remember somebody posted, well, that shouldn't be on the air. And I posted, well, you know what? At least it's entertaining. Because I think it's what Sheldon I was talking about. You know, today's pirates... They get on the air and they play these songs, and that's it. No original content, nothing interesting. It's just, we're just putting music on the air, calling the station's ID every 20 minutes, and, you know, that's it. It's like, you know, pirates today are not necessarily that Interesting, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised. Matt, MDK2 says Radio Metallica Rumors was operating at 10 kilowatts. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, come on, there were so many. You know, look at Wolverine. It's the most powerful pirate I've heard. I don't know how much that guy pumps up in his antenna. But wow. Hey, Juan Amigo from Barcelona. Nice to have you here. Richard Cook's got a weak station on 6250. Possible echo of hope. So nothing much here. Something on 6175, which is China Radio International. Let's go to 5200. Let's check it out, because sometimes, you know, lower part of the band, you'd be surprised what you can hear. So Radio Vanny Cuba 5040. Some kind of teletype on 5020. $5010 in Spanish, probably WRMI, I would guess. WRMI.
Además, es ocupado por cientos de peñas y carritos de comida regionales, donde las noches de música y baile solo terminan con las primeras luces de la mañana.
So 5010. Jay Watterson, have you done any urban exploring or de-expeditions? Exploring abandoned buildings and urban exploring, urbexing. Exploring abandoned buildings and places normally off limits to the public. It's not my type of thing that I would do, honestly. But there's some, you know, there's some interesting, intrigued thing about that. Having, you know, some urban mystery behind it, I would say. I think that would be nice. Hey Ray, take care. Yes, I will have a good time at the concert for sure. And next show is Friday, November 2nd. Already in November, is it just incredible when you think about it? Friday, November 2nd. Just amazing. So, you know, pretty amazing. It's like, if you guys haven't seen it, there's that video on YouTube of the guy that climbs one of the Duga 3 old antenna systems from the Russian woodpecker. And I mean, he's filming himself going up all the little... I would be scared as hell going up there, but the guy goes up on top of the antenna. There's you know, there's ladders that go up, and it's just like, wow, you know, just crazy. The guy goes up to the top. It's amazing. So what else do we have? Let's tune around the bands a little bit. How about it? Let's check out what's on the air. There's no pirates, so let's just go to 6900 kilohertz, see if there's any pirates or anything interesting. There's some weird... Oh, look at that. You guys hear that or see that? Anywhere from 68, 12, 13, all the way up to 6840. Some buzzing. Kind of radar, I guess. 6604 Gander weather.
Wind 280 degrees.
From Newfoundland, Canada.
Visibility more than 6 miles. Few clouds at 7,000.
And I saw an article, by the way, about New York radio that's not on the frequencies lately. And it's
until the 31st at 1800.
Apparently possibly going to come back.
Degrees, 8 knots. Visibility more than 6 miles. Light snow. Ceiling 800 broken. 4,000 overcast.
Sorry, I just need to text.
Zulu until 0600. Visibility more than 6 miles. No significant weather. 900 scattered. Ceiling 4,000 broken. From 06.
So that's Gander, but New York might be coming back apparently.
6 knots. Visibility more than 6 miles. 1,200 scattered. Ceiling 4,000 overcast. Temporarily 0600 Zulu until 0900 Zulu. Visibility 3 miles. Light dip. Ceiling 1,200 overcast. This is Gander Radio.
So, somebody asking what I'm doing tonight. What I'm doing tonight is staying home. So, Gander Radio out. The radio out. 17480. Cuban lady? It's weak. It's very weak here, but I can hear it. 17480 Cuban numbers. Cuban numbers. As Bullfrog89 says, don't forget to hit the like button. Yeah, don't forget about that, guys. I won't be here tomorrow night. Do pirate hunting. You'll hear pirates tomorrow, that's for sure. It's one of the biggest nights of the year, honestly. Just going back here, if you guys want to help me out, don't forget, you can do a little PayPal donation to help me out. And make sure that these live shows continue. They help me pay for equipment, and they are very helpful, honestly. So, paypal.me/shortwave, or the Yahoo email that you see here, and patreon.com/radioincomputers, where you can set up a monthly amount that is deducted every month, but on the first of the month. But be very careful how you set it up, as having no bad surprises. And thanks everybody that has donated. It's much appreciated. So Cuban numbers, HM01 and 17480. That's pretty much what's happening. So 2 hours and 30 minutes, guys. And anybody hearing anything interesting, we're going to tune in a little bit to bands and check out what's happening on the shortwave bands. Please stop texting me, thank you. Okay, so HF Underground. Let's check HF Underground for anything special. $69.10 AM at 22.28. Somebody says 69.10. 69.10. Nothing here. Somebody's mentioning 6910. An ID, no identification. There's something on 6926.9. Apparently. There's something on 6925 called Planet Z. So there's some pirate activity being reported right now in North America. So it's gonna be it's interesting to see what's happening. Hey, Mickey and Watch, nice to have you here. And yes, better late than never, absolutely. NHK on 11665. Yeah, if there's an echo, you are getting long and short path at the same time, absolutely. Nothing here on 11665. That's on the 25 meter band right now. Signals are getting a little weak. That's interesting. I'm getting something that I don't usually see. These regular line of interference that I never had before. Something is weird. Something is weird here. Because I don't usually get these lines, very strong lines of interference across 11, 10 megahertz. Spain on 96.90. There's something on 96.95, but Spain 96.90. For those that just joined, don't forget, Spain, Radio Exterior de España is back in English and French. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays on 9690, 2300 hours UTC, and French, I think it's 2330. So, kind of interesting. Richard Cook's got some Spanish on 9555. 9555. Anything here? I got Spanish on 9565, which is Radio Marti. Radio Marti from the United States, 9565. Bullfrog, have you seen the videos from Ray's Ghost and Pirate Radio Stories on YouTube? No, I've never. Some good ones on there about medium wave pirating in the England in the 60s. Oh, I need to check that out. Matambale says 11665 RTM YFM. You know, the biggest problem right now of EIBI space is that it's not updated. So you can't really be sure. EIBI space is still on the 24th of October list. And so the problem is you can't really choose that list right now. It's probably very soon to be updated because it doesn't usually take much time for the update to happen. Music on 9405. Anything here? Nope. Richard Cook's hearing music on 9405. Dana F, is that an SDR? If so, what kind of antenna is on it? Yes, it's a software-defined radio. It's called the AFEDRI, A-F-E-D-R-I, and my antenna is an outdoor sloper, east-west direction. It's a 75 feet sloper antenna in my backyard right now. So that's pretty much it. So hey guys, I know it's a little short, but we're gonna call it quits for today for the live shows. Hope you enjoyed the show. Now don't forget, tomorrow is Halloween night. So tomorrow there's gonna be a lot of Halloween stations on the air. Tune in to the bands, because you might be surprised of everything that could be popping up. And it's one of the biggest years in pirate radio stations. So you gotta really make sure that you tune in tomorrow. I want to thank everybody for being here. It was a lot of fun to do. 2 hours, 35 minutes, 36 minutes. Friday, we're going to have another show. So this Friday, November 2nd, is going to be the next show at 2000 hours UTC. Don't forget that this weekend, we changed our times. This weekend, we're going to an hour back. So don't forget about that in the Western Hemisphere. You guys in Europe are already there, so that's cool. So take care, everybody. Love you all. Hope you enjoyed today's show, and see you soon. See you soon. Happy Halloween, by the way. And take care, my friends. It's always fun to be here. Bye-bye.